Now for our What in the World segment. Let's start with a pop quiz. What do a possible price increase for McDonald's hamburgers, a ban on onion exports from India, and the Egyptian and Tunisian revolutions all have in common? They're all effects of what may well prove to be the biggest influencer of global events in 2011, the spike in the price of food. Remember that food prices were one of the sparks that lit the fire of protest in North Africa. But if you think it's only affecting emerging or third world countries, think again. If it hasn't already, it's about to affect you. If you are a fast food fan, yes, McDonald's has said it's considering raising its prices to keep up with rising food costs. You need coffee to perk you up? The price of those beans has risen by more than 100% in a year. You like to have a sandwich at lunch? The wheat for that bread is up 60% in the past 12 months. Corn and its byproducts are in just about everything we eat, it seems, in America these days, and that is up more than 80% in a year. Last month, the UN's food price index hit its highest level ever. Globally, it's already a third more expensive to stay well-fed than it was last year, and it's only likely to go higher. The latest factor is, of course, Libya. It's not that the nation is a breadbasket, it's not, but it is an oil producer. And now that's why this week we saw gas prices higher than we've seen any February in more than 2 decades. And how does gas affect food? Well, food needs to get from the farms to where it's grown to cities where more and more of the world's population lives these days. And it is, of course, gas, petrol that gets it there. Now, nobody expects governmental instability here in the United States because it costs a few cents more to get a Big Mac. But if you live in a place like Egypt, where 4 out of 10 citizens are said to live on less than $2 a day, almost half of that income, those $2, is spent on food. So a sharp, steep rise in what it costs to feed yourself and your family can be devastating. The World Bank's latest estimate out this month is that 1 billion people in the world are hungry. That's 1 out of 6 people on the planet. So in many parts of the world, governments are being forced to act, and act fast, to stave off the kind of riots and unrest we saw in North Africa. Let's take a look at a microcosm. Onions in India. The pungent vegetable is a staple in Indian cooking, and heavy rains at the end of the onion growing season meant a huge price spike in December, up 3-fold in just a few weeks, up 8-fold in a matter of months. So that same month, India banned the export of onions and cut all taxes on the import of onions. Why did politicians act so quickly? Probably because they remember history. Onions have always played a big role in Indian elections as a kind of bellwether of the price and food inflation. Indira Gandhi came to power in 1980 on a platform based partly on the price of onions. So this week, tens of thousands gathered in the streets of Delhi to protest against food prices. In China, prices for staples like rice, cooking oil, and vegetables have reportedly doubled in recent months in some of the big cities. China has instituted food subsidies for the poor to keep people happy. But in a country whose population tops 1 billion, that's a lot of people to keep happy, and it costs a lot of money. As every government in the world watches the effects of rising food prices in the Middle East, they are all beginning to take strong measures. But these measures are mostly anti-growth. Food subsidies, fuel subsidies, rises in interest rates, blockages on exports. All in all, the effect of food prices in 2011 might well prove to be good for freedom, but bad for economic growth.